Hello. So I charged this mic for a whole day, so shouldn't have any problems today. But welcome back. This episode of Runway Review is probably going to be my longest episode. First, I'd like to introduce a few favorites from Gucci's Resort collection, which was designed with the intention to display different moments in time from the Atelier's contribution to the fashion industry. When I take the time to consider what the House of Gucci has claimed as its own, I typically think about glam, sophistication, maximalism, a genuine appreciation for an ensemble that consists of garments that feel assertive. I'd really like to highlight looks number 1 and looks number 27 as two of my favorite looks from this collection. The coats that have been chosen to grace the bodies of the models. I'm particularly excited about the fur collar. I love the natural tones that you can find throughout this palette. Look number 14, pink open toe sandals. And this coat, look number 34. This is a moment that makes me think about Grace Jones and her contribution to the fashion world, but also Grace Jones is one of my fashion icons, and I feel like maybe I just see that pattern a lot. But yes, so back to this jaw dropping ensemble. The crystal embellished tights. Yeah, I need a pair of those. The monogram Gucci tights. Oh, actually, I think this is a jumpsuit. Either she has on a jumpsuit or she has on a two piece because the neck line is what I can see from the photos is that the top is constructed from the same fabric. These glasses are hard. Victoria Beckham debuted her Resort 2026 collection with the intention of creating garments that would support her life as a public figure and as someone who is constantly not battling, constantly juggling life's everyday tasks. The collection was also inspired by her passion for dance that she developed in her earlier years of life. I particularly gravitated towards the mint, all of the minty monochromatic looks. I'm just really into mint at the moment, like sage mint, a light and soft green, or even like a muted green. I'm just really into that right now. Look 35 stood out the most to me from Louis Vuitton's Resort 2026 collection designed by Nicola. The pink lining to the perforated flowers. This is the best piece on the runway. Maria Grazia Chiuri. Let me see if I'm saying that right. Hold on. So it's Maria Grazia Curie, according to this video. I don't know. Maria's final collection at Dior was a nod to her birthplace, which is Rome. I thought that was the nod. I thought that was the nod this entire time, to be quite honest. I thought the gladiator sandals made that pretty obvious, but I, my Twitter's was deactivated because I was on that. I was on there tweaking, but you know, I do When I have my Twitter, or at least that Twitter. I have a Twitter burner now. Oh damn! I'm recording with the phone. I'm gonna put my burner. I'm gonna put my Twitter burner up on there so y'all can follow me. But on my last account, I'd constantly see really, really, really bad comments about Maria's contribution to Dior, which I feel like there's questionable pieces in every collection, but it's all subjective. Yeah, I was really impressed with her with how she bowed out. I know there are a few looks within the collection that are all black or it has some other tone in it, but I love the overall decision to make everything mostly white or another variation of white, off white or pale. I just love the elegance and the opulence. A lot of the dresses and a lot of the garments feel streamy. Oh, I just want to say I appreciate Maria and what she brought to Dior. Yeah, I think it's gonna age well. What stood out the most to me from La Pointe's 2026 resort collection are the ensembles constructed from this rich turquoise satin. And in other looks, the pieces are embellished in crystals, sequin, feathers. KHAITE Resort 2026 was designed with a new outlook for its customer. Usually, the clothes are designed with the idea of seclusion in mind. However, this collection displayed a new point of view through its use of fabrics such as zebra print, ostrich, flowers, and a buttery pony hair. My favorite elements from this collection probably has to be the animal printed outerwear. There's a top that a model's wearing, and it has a deep, deep, deep V cut, and it's constructed from a fabric covered in zebra print as well. So I'd like to highlight looks number 9 and 12 from Louis Vuitton's Resort 2026 menswear collection. These looks, they come off really casual in regard to silhouettes and its archetype or identity, but I feel there's a huge statement being made through color and obviously the monogram. It does add a lot of elevation to the outfit because again the silhouettes feel incredibly casual, but the texture, the monogram detail, the color, it just makes it all much more rich. I briefly looked at Tory Burch's Resort 2026 collection, and look 23 stood out the most to me. I didn't intend to rhyme at the drop of a dime. We have arrived at Balenciaga. So for Demna's final collection, he commissioned a photographer and a writer whose names I will spell out because I cannot pronounce them. But he commissioned these two people to help produce Exactitudes, which is the name of Demna's final collection at Balenciaga. The word Exactitudes is a collaboration formed between the two words exact and attitudes, which defines a range of archetypes stemming from one's desire to identify themselves and give others the space to identify them within a group. So this collection, Exactitudes, was sealed with the design language intended to pay respect to Britney Spears and Demna's overall contribution to the House of Balenciaga. I don't know. I'm not really sad to see Demna leave Balenciaga because I feel like Demna filled the shoes. I feel like Demna came in and said what he needed to say as a designer, and I think it's going to stick forever. When I look back at previous Balenciaga collections or with any brand in general, you can always find, house codes that each designer takes from previous collections, and they do their best to meet in the middle of those references and their own interests. I feel like Demna defined new a new era for Balenciaga. I make a lot of jokes about the collection being OD performative, and there's still so much beauty in that. But I do feel like I joke about it a lot. But in 100 years, like I think people are gonna eat it up, and that reaction, in my opinion, is totally valid. Parto debuted a very short but very concise collection for Resort 2026. Nelly, which is the designer and director of the brand, pulled inspiration from the hardworking women that her brand caters to. The clothes they're meant to make, or they're meant to contribute towards a woman's ability to feel at ease but yet powerful. Gabriella Hearst presented a few looks dressed in cow material. I have to highlight this because, you know, I love animal print. Like anything animal print is fly as fuck. Okay, let me not say that one. Let me not say that. I was getting a little bit too ahead of myself, but I'm very passionate when it comes to animal prints. Zebra, cheetah, leopard, cow, ostrich, alligator, crocodile. Glenn Martin's designed the most beautiful skirts for Diesel's Resort 2026 collection. Glenn Martin's the designer that you are. You're phenomenal. You are amazing. R13. When I'm looking at the collection, I take the time to read the excerpt that Vogue included to give a brief introduction regarding the designer and the label. Did I read the passage first? I don't think so because when I was looking at it, it's very obvious that R13 caters more to the grunge crowd. Yeah, throughout this collection, as I'm glancing first to see, I do this thing where I scroll quickly and I'm like, my eye will catch the cold shit. So like I don't think I need to look at each look individually first. I just scroll through. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let me dive deeper. Yeah, as I'm scrolling through the details now, I notice, there are hearts everywhere. Hearts represent love. So, my first thought was, oh, this is a collection displaying softness and hardness and how they can live harmoniously. And then I go and read the passage and then it says that. And I'm like, duh, because you get it. But yeah, so I mean, I can see the hearts, but I can also see the ripped fishnet tights. I can see, the leather statement pieces that are dressed in studs and pierced I can see that the design identity is catering to the ethos of grunge culture, but the hearts, they add, you know, it's not soft on the eye, but it lands softly on the spirit, in my opinion. Like I can see that it's trying to, bring forth, that feeling of softness, but it doesn't mean that you have to see something that is overall soft to feel that way. And I was also kind of thinking, like, okay, maybe like love can exist in the dark too. Like maybe that's a message that this collection is intended to send. So there are a few moments that I'd like to point out from Hervé Leger's Resort 2026 collection. First look I want to point out is this woman wearing a strapless, striped, metallic dress. The decision to photograph her surrounded by pitch blackness makes this dress even more captivating. I'm so glad they photographed it this way. The next look I'd like to highlight is of this model wearing this mint bondage dress paired with two metallic glass heeled pumps. I'm a huge fan of the monochromatic cream looks in Johnson's lookbook. ALC debuted a shearling lined leather coat that I had to bring attention to. For anybody that's looking for a coat, here you go. Balmain's Resort 2026 collection is fucking insane. The gaudiness that is engraved into every single detail of this collection. Look at it, look at it, look at these shoes. Every single piece is holding weight. Gotta make sure I keep checking the mic, make sure the mic's still on. I can't have that happen. I can't record another episode and it go mute. And I'm just talking. The footwear at Balmain, let's just take a moment to appreciate the footwear. Moschino has appointed a new director, and I believe this happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But now the company design language is being led by Adrian Apiolaza. I think Adrian's on track to also define a new era for Moschino. Moschino's house codes are still there, which previously, when you look at previous collections by Jeremy Scott, I think there was an extreme emphasis on emphasis and exaggeration and volume. But I think Adrian is reinventing the lens that highlights Moschino's house codes, and again, like I said, in a way that I feel is going to define a new era for Moschino, the same way that, Demna's, or the same way that I feel Demna's creations define a new era for Balenciaga. I talked about quite a few brands for real. We're finally at the end of the list. To wrap this up, we're going to talk about Chloe's collection from Resort 2026. This collection was inspired by the designer's mother and her frequent decision to wear things like peplums. Another source of inspiration for this Chloe collection was the Parisian woman in general, which I feel like was totally evident throughout the collection. Oh, also the 80s. This Chloe collection was a knock out the park in my opinion, and I favorited so many looks from this collection. Damn near the entire lookbook. I gotta come to Paris. I gotta go to Paris. Great collection from Chloe. That was the last on my list. I can't believe I got through this episode. I thought that it was gonna take me multiple days. At the beginning, I was thinking about how tired I was. And I was like, man, maybe this will take me a few days to record. And I wasn't even mad at the idea of like, if I need to take breaks and that means recording the episode throughout a few days, whatever, that's cool. But I am glad that I got through this episode, and um I hope you all enjoyed my takes, my favorites, and I'll see you on the next episode of Runway Review. Bye, everyone.